Hey you guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're getting our first impressions of the new releases from Candlemass, Disturbed, and Tallah. So, you might be wondering why I'm sitting here by myself. Where's TV Fish? Don't you worry, TV Fish will be in this video. So the thing is, he's got a little bit of COVID going around in his house, I got a little bit of COVID going around in my house. So we figured, let's play it safe and let's record separately today. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna splice them together afterwards. So you're gonna get his stuff, you're gonna get my stuff, but only one of us can do an intro, and it happens to be me today. So 3 albums we covered today. Big release day for us because we've both been Disturbed fans for a long time. We're both Tallah fans, and we both recently just got into Candlemass. So I guess I'm going to kick it off with Candlemass. The album is called Sweet Evil Sun, and it's my first time listening to a full Candlemass album. On a first impression, I thought it was pretty good. I thought, it was really strong on the riffs, and I thought it had great solos. We reacted to a song, I can't remember exactly which one it was, because I suck at remembering stuff like that. But we reacted to one of the videos and thought it was great, and I thought, you know what, I've been sleeping on this band way too long, gotta check them out. So this was our chance, and I keep thinking, like, this is the kind of band, like, if I'm in the mood to put on, like, just like old school metal, this is the kind of stuff I want to listen to, because this is pinnacle old school metal. It's got the, like, riffs for days, and the vocals on top of that are just awesome. Like, really pure, good cleans. It's, kind of a doom metal. I think they fall in doom metal category. So it's very doomy, almost Black Sabbath-y kind of stuff. Really cool stuff. Really enjoyed it. Some standout tracks. Track number 1, Wizard of the Vortex. Angel Battle. Track number 3. And track number 8, Crucified, where I felt like there was a bit of a lull in the middle of the album, but at track number 8 it picks back up again. So yeah, I think it deserves more listens. I think I only listened to it like 1.5 times, but I think it deserves more listens. I think there's definitely potential for this to be one of those albums that really shines, despite sounding simple maybe, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good.
Sweet Evil Sun by Candlemass. So, I've only really known one song by this band, I guess not counting the reaction that we did, which was to the title track for this album. But that was the song Bewitched that I knew, and I like that song a lot. I like that singing, overall really cool song. So this band is, I guess, one of the progenitors of kind of the doom metal vein of genre, right? And this album was really cool. I think I would struggle a lot with doom metal in general. I feel like there wasn't just much going on, but I think this album does a really good job at having that vibe, but still just throwing kick-ass riff after kick-ass riff at you, and I think that's awesome. Devil Voodoo is a cool song because I thought it had a bookend. Like, I'm listening to it, it has this, kind of this acoustic intro, he's talking, whatever. And then that comes back, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the end of the song. Bam! A guitar solo happens. Like, wait, what? And that's only halfway through the song. So I thought that was really cool. That song ended up fading out, which I found there were quite a bit of those on this album. Not like it's a problem, just noticed that there were a lot. Angel Battle was a cool song that I liked, but at the end there was like 45 seconds of talking. And that's the kind of song where I feel like I would get to that part and either just tune out if I'm putting it on in the background, or just skip by the end, because it's like, why is this here? It just kind of feels stapled onto the end to an otherwise good song. Overall, the vocals are one of the best parts of this album. I like how much of a variety he brings to this touch. It doesn't feel like you're getting something repetitive with his voice. It feels like you're really being taken on a melodic journey, and you're getting a lot of highs, lows, no harshes per se, but still, one of the things that really stood out to me the most. Another example of just the riffs, Crucified. it kind of starts out the same way as Devil Voodoo, but then when that riff kicks in, it's like, oh yeah, that's the good stuff. I love how this album is just so riff heavy, but still has that haunting doom atmosphere, and I like that quite a bit.
So now on to Tallah and the Generation of Danger, one of our most highly anticipated albums of the year. As many of you know, Metrifugy was our album of the year for 2020 for both of us. We really love that album, and this is, a super hyped album for both of us. So I actually have a copy here. Earache Records was kind enough to send us an early copy for review. But due to mail being slow and things coming over the border taking forever, it actually just arrived today. So it's still sealed. Haven't even opened it yet, but still kudos to Earache for being kind enough to send us a copy. That's awesome. But as for the album, I listened to it a couple times today, and there's a lot to unpack on this album. It is chaotic, to say the least. Probably more so than Metrifugy. And I think I'm just used to Metrifugy now because I've heard it so much. This, I'll get used to with time. But on the first couple listens, I was like, wow, there's a lot going on here. They're kind of all over the place, but not in a bad way. Just to get this out there, I did watch Justin's breakdown of the album and got kind of a feel for what the story's about. And just a quick kind of synopsis. It's basically about a scientist. He's super smart, super genius. This guy cures cancer, he cures AIDS, he cures all sorts of things, but he's a weirdo. He's an ugly, deformed, weirdo guy. And the company he works for, which I think is called Chloroform something, I can't remember shit. But this company, they don't want him to be the face of the company because he's this hideous guy. So they hire this actor to be the face of the company. But the scientist guy doesn't like this, so he starts kidnapping these executives in the company kind of one by one and doing these grotesque experiments on them, morphing them with animals and creating these abominations and stuff like that. Just really wild, crazy stuff. So that's essentially what the story's about. I thought that was cool. Just straight up awesome sci-fi kind of, if you call that sci-fi horror maybe. Cool stuff. One thing I found interesting is this character, or maybe the story takes place in Bruges, which I'm pretty sure Dr. Evil from Austin Powers is from Bruges. So I don't know if there's a nod there or it's a coincidence or what, but I thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, on to the music. So like I said, there's a lot to unpack. The two things that shine the most, I had to stop myself for a second there because it's vocals and drums, but I just thinking about the guitars and how many times I went, whoa, that's cool, or whoa, that's sick. Solos and riffs, don't want to take anything away from those. Bass is awesome too. But the drums though are it reminds me of when I heard Joey Jordison drumming for the first time. And that's a big compliment. We know this guy, we know Max Portnoy, who his father is, and you can't really expect much less from him, but for me to say that it sounds like hearing Joey for the first time is a big compliment. Let me just put it that way. And Justin's vocals, again, are just through the roof. His range is impeccable. The fact that he can seamlessly flow from squeaky little weird voices to these gutturals and back and forth and doing all sorts of weird things is just insane. A few tracks that stand out. Dicker's Done, number 8. Number 9, Telescope. The breakdown is sick in this song. And number 3, Stomping Grounds, which I thought was a really cool song. It actually does this really cool thing about 3/4 through the song where the tempo just starts speeding up. And I like those things. I like those types of things that artists and bands put into their music and put into their songs to make it sound more interesting, right? I don't know. Overall, I thought this was a pretty strong album on a first impressions. There's maybe potential for things to get a little annoying, maybe. I don't think so. But there's a lot to unpack here, and I'm looking forward to listening to it more.
So, The Generation of Danger by Tallah. Christ. So this album is probably my most anticipated album of the entire year. Matrilogy, one of my favorite albums ever made. Just incredible album, and every single that this band released leading up to this album just hit home runs over and over and over and over. And it's like, wow, they're taking... It's a case of, we have this debut album, now let's see if we can take this and crank everything up, multiplied by 2, and that's kind of what you get with this album. It was exhausting. I'm going to be completely honest. By the time I'm at How Long, which is the last track, I'm thinking, oh my god, there's so much to unpack here. And that's totally what this band's about. I mean, it was like that with Matrilogy. There's so much going on. But with this album, I feel like they kind of kept the foot on the gas pedal more. You know, but that's just based on one listen. I mean, there are songs like How Long, which is the last track, which has this incredible build up to the halfway point where everyone just kind of comes in and it's awesome. I think that's an amazing closer. There was another one, Wendred, which I believe is the song right after Telescope, which is insane. Still love Telescope, loved it as much as I loved it when we first reacted to it. And Wendred, this might sound a little weird, but I was getting a Linkin Park vibe from that. I think melodically, that's what I was getting. And it's like if Linkin Park was a deathcore band, which is cool. I love that. That's awesome. So songs like those are the ones that'll break up the pace, but based on, you know, the one listen I had, you can only take in so much, especially because there's just so much to every song. Every song is an average length, like 4 to 5 minutes or so, maybe the occasional 6, but there's just so much crammed into them. They feel way longer than that. There's this one screech that Justin does near the end of Dicker's Done, and I heard it and I thought, what was that? Like, jeez, what was that? And I was finding moments like that a lot throughout this album, like, what was that? What was that? What are they doing here? What's happening? And I love that because it just makes the album unpredictable and it makes you looking forward to discovering more and more upon further listens.
Okay, last but not least, Disturbed, Divisive. So, I could probably say this is a divisive band because there's a lot of people that love them and a lot of people that hate them. I think more people love Disturbed, though. I think they're pretty popular. They've been around for a long time. They got a pretty big following. We reacted to a couple of their videos or singles for this song. Hey You is one of them. Here's me not remembering again. Whatever the other ones were, they were kind of hit and misses for us. They were. We kept saying they were better than everything that was on Evolution, which was the last album, and that's true. This album blows Evolution out of the water. So I actually had a good time listening to this album today. I listened to it about 3-4 times because it's pretty short. It's less than 40 minutes. And it feels short too. Some albums that are 40 minutes don't quite feel short, but this one does. But it's a return to form for Disturbed, which I'm glad to see. Does it sound like 10,000 Fists? Does it sound like Asylum? Does it sound like, Believe? What is it? I don't think it sounds like any other older album specifically, but it just sounds like older Disturbed. The biggest takeaway for me positively is the guitars, hands down. Some of the riffs on these songs, like the title track, for example, and track number 6, Feeding the Fire, have some great riffing, and some pretty good songwriting. Like Feeding the Fire is really catchy in the way that they write the hook. But that's kind of as far as I go with the hooks on this album. I think the choruses are the weakest thing on this album, and they kind of kill a lot of the songs for me. But that is something that people can overcome through multiple listens. It's one of those things where you listen to it a few times and you're kind of going, oh, this is so sour, this is kind of raunchy, this chorus, the wish it wasn't there. But then the more you listen to it, you kind of start going, it's not too bad. And you kind of just warm up to it. There's one song with a feature, which is Ann Wilson from Heart, which I think was a very interesting feature for Disturbed to have. It's kind of like, it's not a slow song, it's not a ballad, but it's like the soft song on the album. It's called Don't Tell Me. It's track number 7. Again, the feature's good, but my biggest takeaway is the solo. Again, I'm going back to the guitars because I feel like the guitars on this album shine above everything else But above all their Disturbed albums too, I feel like the guitaring is just excelling on this album. We mentioned this on our in our reaction videos that one of them had a really good solo in it, and we were like, damn, like that's one of the best solos Disturbed's ever done. This album's got a few of those. Like they kind of went above and beyond with the solos, and the guitar riffs also kind of stand out. I mean, they're typical Disturbed guitar riffs, but when they're catchy, they're catchy. What can I say? So overall, I thought Divisive was pretty good. I enjoyed it probably more than I thought I was going to. Despite being a Disturbed fan for a good chunk of my life, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, the choruses I can get over, and yeah, I'm just really happy that they didn't do another Evolution. So big kudos to them for that. But yeah, for me, 3 pretty solid albums today.
Divisive by Disturbed. So I'm getting this out there immediately. The last album they made, it was called Evolution. We both hated it. It was garbage. It was 90% ballad. There, that's it. That's, you know, okay, Evolution. Divisive, a return to form. I think Hey You was the first single, and we reacted to that, and I'm like, you know what, this is fine. This is not bad. This is a step in the right direction. Overall, the album kind of just has that sound, but it's like they have their character back. I feel like it sounds straight up like a Disturbed album. If you like Disturbed for what they are, if you like the, you know, that kind of like 2000s era from Believe all the way to Indestructible or so, this, honestly, I would say fits in with those. Is it as good? Maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I've only heard it once, but I would say this fits in terms of, yes, it feels like this band. It feels like this is what they're doing. I will say, there were some points where I kind of felt like the same chorus was happening in a few of the songs, where it's just a similar rhythm, a similar melody. I feel like I can sing them on top of each other, and that felt a little bit weird, but the riffs were good. The more I was listening to this album, I was thinking, yes, this is Disturbed. This is the cool riff. David Draymond sounds phenomenal on this album. He had a great vocal performance. He's always been a good singer, and he's just gotten better and better with time. Like, you know, even on the more recent albums, he sounded very good. But he just, I don't know, that is what really stood out to me. There is one ballad, only one, and it's good. I forgot to write the name, but because it's only one ballad, it retains its power. And it also has a vocal feature. I also forgot who that was. My apologies, but it was a good feature. It was a good song, and it fits fine on the album. It totally works. The bridge of Take Back Your Life feels really old school to me. That is a moment of me thinking, yes, this is Disturbed. This is how it feels to Disturbed. You know, this is what I know them for. This is what I appreciate them for. So, you know, from that track, from that album, you know, my favorites just from the first impression were Divisive, Love to Hate, and Take Back Your Life. You know, overall, it is a good album, and I'm happy that they, you know, returned to form and got their character back. So with all that said, I think the album that we're going to be looking into throughout the week is The Generation of Danger by Tallah. I mean, one of the most anticipated albums, I'm sure, for both of us. And there's just so much content to discover throughout the week. Both the other albums were good as well, but this one is going to get our focus for the entire week nonstop, and we will be back next week to give you guys our final review. And that's all we got for you guys today. Remember to like this video if you liked it. Comment, tell us in the comments below, what do you think of today's new releases, and are you going to be listening along with us to the Generation of Danger? Remember to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I'm TV Fish.
And I'm Vile Self.
And keep the horns up.